So the $1 billion defamation lawsuit against CNN right here in Bay County continued today. I believe closing arguments are tomorrow for phase one, which I believe is liability. In other words, the local jury will decide if CNN did indeed defame Navy SEAL and a man who was doing special operations and helping Afghan women, high-risk Afghan women, escape the Taliban in 2021. And CNN ran a story basically calling him a profiteer, operating in a black market, exploiting poor Afghans, and all this. And so CNN and their attorneys are inside the Bay County Courthouse. And the lead CNN attorney, the first chair, is a snarky, dishonest dude, an SDD, as we call him in law. And Judge William Henry, who took the bench in 2021 when he was appointed by Governor DeSantis after Judge Michael Overstreet retired, he had enough of that guy, of the SDD. The CNN's lawyer's name is David Axelrod, but it's not the same David Axelrod that you might be thinking of. It's David L. Axelrod. He's an attorney who has successfully defended the New York Times in a defamation case. You're going to see this, and it is unbelievable. Let me give you a taste of it, because I'm just going to roll it. All right? Just roll it and let you see it, because it's unbelievable. I don't know why judges allow attorneys. I believe David Axelrod, the CNN first chair, committed fraud upon the court today, because he put on the witness stand somebody who was making a claim. I don't want to get too much in the details. Was making a claim about Zachary Young, the plaintiff, the Navy SEAL, who is suing CNN, that he did have his security clearance and he could get a job and he hadn't lost anything, when in reality, unbeknownst to Zachary Young, his security clearance that he got through a company was revoked a couple of years ago. So he could not have. And David Axelrod, the CNN first chair attorney, knew this. And he sat there and allowed it to happen and pretended, the CNN attorney pretended that he just got lucky and found a document. You can't spring discovery on the other side and on the court. There is a deadline. The other side must be noticed on all of the evidence and all of the discovery. They weren't. And the CNN attorney was trying to say, and he said over and over, you'll see, said over and over, that the plaintiff, Zachary Young, was a liar, and accused the Zach Young's attorneys of violating the rules of the court. And you'll see what local circuit judge William Henry had to say. Here's a taste of it. It's I posted about it as soon as I saw it, a few minutes after it happened. But here it's all over the place. Law and Crime has this piece on it. Take a listen to this.
Suggestion, Your Honor. It was. You said he can't shirk his discovery responsibilities by signing a document, sending it off, and then say, I don't have it. So right now, your
listen to this.
Credibility with me, Mr. Axelrod, is about none.
The judge told the CNN attorney, your credibility with me, Mr. Axelrod, is pretty much none. All right, I'm going to roll it and show you the local judge just blasting the CNN attorney for his lack of professionalism, to say the least, right after I thank a few sponsors.
Strong, effective leadership. 3 words that could mean the difference between prison and your freedom. I'm Al Saulene, your Panama City Beach lawyer. 850-215-0628.
Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777.
You want to look good? You want to feel good? Little John's Big and Tall is where it's at. Right across the street from Sky's Pizza Pie, 5700 North Davis Highway. You can find out more online at littlejohnsbigandtall.com. He's also a member of the iTex trading community, where your iTex dollars are welcome.
All right, so let me show you this. I'll show you what I posted at the beginning because I don't need to do that, actually. What I posted on Facebook. You can see it because it's all going to be covered in this video. I did notice, however, I'll show you. I'll show you who this attorney is that got his ass handed to him in the courtroom. For all the world to see, this is David Axelrod. He's a snarky twerp. Big shot. Real big shot, though. Here he is. All right. Let's moment to pull it up. So here is David Axelrod, the CNN attorney. This is his LinkedIn profile. Okay, that's him right there. Thinks he's a slick. So this is the attorney that we're talking about, David L. Axelrod. He was a prosecutor, a federal prosecutor at one point. I think in the civil division back around, I think until 2014. And now he defends corporations like CNN in defamation lawsuits. So that's him. I did notice, however, in the courtroom, I noticed there was a lawyer representing CNN. He was like the second chair. And I'm like, I know this guy. I haven't talked to him in, I don't know how long, 12 years. I know this guy. It finally clicked. I said, that's Sandy. That's Mr. Sanborn. That's attorney Sanborn. So he had to get up and apologize to the judge. Oof. It was bad. But he's with Barron and Redding. So he's representing CNN in the Bay County courtroom. Many of you probably know him. He's been here for a long time. And it was interesting because the issue was they were springing discovery and they were doing trial subpoenas for documents and such without noticing the other side. A clear violation of a rule, a federal rule of the court, that the CNN attorneys, him and the Axelrod in particular, were accusing Zachary Young's attorney of doing. They were the ones doing it. They were the ones. I'm not saying Mr. Sanborn, but he stood up and said, this was my fault. I didn't think we had to do. He said, I've been in practice 37 years. I didn't know. Never had to do it before, Your Honor. So, yeah, it was very bad day for Mr. Sanborn and the other CNN attorneys. I didn't know that he was representing CNN, but I kept seeing him on the live stream. Now it's interesting because he's a partner with Barron and Redding, and Barron and Redding. I've had some experience with Barron and Redding. I told you that I was sued by idiot Jennifer Walgamot. She's a consultant who used to be the girlfriend of former city manager, Panama City Beach, Mario Gisbert. And I was reporting that they were working out sweetheart deals when she was the project manager for ZHA back in like 2017. And she was dumb enough to sue me, limited purpose public figure, for defamation. And she hired a real fancy pants attorney around here at the time with Barron and Redding, the same law firm that's representing CNN. I'll show you who he is. She hired this guy. This was who I had to go up against. Michael Dickey. Look at Michael Dickey. Now, Michael Dickey is a local attorney, and he is very, very tough, very capable. But he got his ass kicked by me, Burnie, the attorney. I'm not a real attorney. I just have to play one in real life when these idiots are stupid enough to sue me for defamation. And he took the case. And he wasn't following the rules. He wouldn't give me the discovery. And so Judge Overstreet, back in 2019 or so, 2020, something like that, Judge Overstreet said, okay, you'll both meet in my office tomorrow. And Michael Dickey, the fancy pants legal lawyer attorney, he threw in the towel. He said, I'm not going to meet my Judge Overstreet. Are you crazy? Because he knew that he was supposed to be turning in the discovery. Anyway, I didn't know Barron and Redding were representing CNN, but they are. So if you know fancy pants attorney Michael Dickey, ask him if he remembers losing a very embarrassing case. I'll never let him live it down. I just won't do it. Because he should have known, and he did know, that his client, that they were lying and that I was telling the truth. So I put a little pressure on him. And that happened. Anyway, let's get right off of that. But I couldn't believe it. I saw Mr. Sanborn up there and saw that. Now, by the way, in fact, during the case with me, Michael Dickey left, and now he's with Shipman and something. Anyway, all right, let's get to the good stuff. So this is what happened today. I'm just going to let it roll. It's just a montage put together by Law and Crime. This happened today in the Bay County courtroom.
Suggestion, Your Honor. It was. It was. You said he can't shirk his discovery responsibilities by signing a document, sending it off, and then say, I don't have it.
So right now, your credibility with me, Mr. Axelrod, is about none, if you understand that.
I do. I certainly do. And I apologize when you feel that way.
And let me say this. I mean, y'all made a lawyer like that in Philly or New York or D.C. or wherever the heck it is, or Miami. We don't lawyer like this around here.
Now, I got to say, that's a great line. And I hope that that's true. I don't know Judge William Henry. I understand he went to Rutherford High School. And so far, I think he's done he looks to me like he's done a great job in the courtroom. This case is all over the world. This is a big, big case. And so now he's only been a judge for about 4 years, and a circuit judge for about 4 years. And now here he is in a high profile $1 billion defamation case against CNN. And, I hope that, and I don't know, but it appears that Judge William Henry, he didn't let this happen in his courtroom. But Judge Henry, this kind of lawyering does happen around here. And sadly, this kind of judging does happen in these parts. It's terrible. I showed you Judge Kelvin C. Wells, the bum. I showed you what he did in the Hoot Crawford case. Sadly, some of the judges around here and attorneys suck out loud. So I am grateful that Judge Henry didn't tolerate it in his courtroom, but Judge, I've seen some real bad lawyering and judging going on in Bay County. But not in his courtroom. Not today.
The subpoena that Mr. Friedman served on Ralph Otto and the entire civil board fleet that he did not share with us, I can share that with you too.
Your Honor, if I may respond to that, my cover email to Mr. Otto states, it is our understanding that you may be arriving in Florida to testify. When you land, we intend to serve you with a trial subpoena requiring your attendance. And that
the person talking, you can see Zach Young, the Navy SEAL who brought the defamation case. He's in the front right, white shirt, gray tie, silver tie. He's the man who I believe, based on the evidence I've seen in the case, was defamed by CNN. And his attorneys, those two young guys, they're really good. They're really good. And the guy talking right now is the one on the end, on the end, on the other side of Zach Young right there. And the CNN attorney standing up. There's Mr. Sanborn of Barron and Redding sitting down next to David Axelrod, the guy standing up. The guy standing up is the attorney for CNN who got just destroyed today by Judge William Henry. All right. So the guy talking right now is Zach Young's lawyer, and he's saying, Your Honor, what the CNN lawyer is saying, that's what they're doing. They're accusing us of what they're doing. That's what you're seeing right now.
Requires you to bring certain documents with you when you testify. To that end, we are attaching a courtesy copy of our intended subpoena in advance so that you can have more time to gather the documents. And then when served, it will make compliance easier for you. We then ask him to tell us when he's arriving to make it more convenient for him and the process server, or ask if he will accept it over email. This was not service of the subpoena. This was service of a courtesy copy so that when he landed, we would hand it to him and then we would bring it to your attention to say, and to them, and to say, hey, we have now tagged Mr. Ralph Otto in Florida with tag jurisdiction. He now has a valid trial subpoena to produce documents to us. We were never able to tag Mr. Otto, and so we never ended up serving the subpoena. I was very clear it was a courtesy copy. So I take issue with Mr. Axelrod's half disclosure to the court about what I did.
Yeah, Mr.
Also, Your
Axelrod.
Honor, I must take a moment to correct.
Before you do that, is that what the cover letter said?
I don't have the cover letter in front of me, but there's a certificate of service that says, I hereby certify that the foregoing documents was furnished to all counsel of record by electronic mail on this 6th day of January 2025, the same day that it was sent to Mr. Ralph Otto. And it was never served on us.
Your Honor, may I approach? Here's the cover letter. My paralegal prepared a courtesy copy. It says, on my honor and as an officer of the court, it was a courtesy copy. We said it straight out. It is true there's a certification in there, but that's just because I asked my paralegal to prepare a subpoena so we could send it to her, and she simply filled it out. Your Honor, also, if I may just, I feel compelled to simply correct the record because my client has been labeled a liar over and over again. The document, Mr. Young said it was a wet signature, and as you'll see on the document, it is not signed.
I'm going to forward it just a bit through the details here. I don't want to get caught up in the thick of thin things. But let's go to about here.
Through the questioning that, and so it was. This document was obtained outside the bounds of discovery. It was hidden from us. It was thrown at us as a surprise. We are now prejudiced, and the relief we're looking for, quite frankly, Your Honor, is conservative in my view.
Yep.
They were not prejudiced, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, they put an expert on the stand yesterday that said he still has a security clearance. He's great he can do all the work he wants. They knew it's not true.
Yeah, this is amazing. To me, this was the biggest thing. That attorney standing up, David L. Shapiro, he put, this attorney is explaining it. I think he committed fraud upon the court. And I don't know why judges allow these attorneys to mislead, lie, and put up a witness under oath that is saying something incorrect. The witness, I don't think, knew. But the attorney standing up, the CNN attorney, he knew that his own witness was wrong and allowed it to be said to the court.
True. They had their expert get on the stand and say, he's got a security clearance, no problem, he can get work. They knew it was not true.
That's right.
We did not, they did.
That is false. Mr. Young testified he still has a security clearance. We had no idea that that's not true.
Your Honor, if I may, they knew it's not true because Helios Global told them it's not true.
Helios Global is the company that got the security clearance for Zachary Young. After CNN defamed him, they revoked the security clearance in 2022. And since Zachary Young hasn't had any work since CNN defamed him, Zachary Young did not know his security clearance had been revoked. In fact, when he was on the witness stand, Zachary Young said, I hope I still even have my security clearance. He only had it through that company. So when you hear them talk about Helios, I believe that's the name of the company, all right, that got him his security clearance.
On January 2nd, 2025, in their letter, they said, we retained Mr. Young's clearance through approximately November 2022 in the event these requirements reemerged, but they did not. Ultimately, we administratively dropped Mr. Young from our security clearance roles, thus ending any relationship/affiliation. So CNN knew that there was no security clearance in place, something we didn't know because we didn't have this communication.
Well, they knew you didn't have it through Helios Global.
Correct.
Well, that's true, Your Honor, but that is, I mean, Mr. Young testified he has it through no one else, and what his testimony on the stand was that Ian Conway did him a solid by keeping his security clearance, and I hope, he said, I hope I still have it, if I remember correctly. I'm trying
That's
to remember.
right.
So clearly, Mr. Young's testimony was the security clearance is through Helios Global. And that was the only evidence that there was a security clearance. CNN knew that that relationship ended, knew Mr. Young did not know that that relationship ended, had proof of it, and failed to disclose it to the other side, and then put an expert on the stand to say he still has it.
Booyah.
Your Honor, I'm not sitting here asking for sanctions. I'm just saying we have been massively prejudiced, and we should be able to clear the record. The jury should not be misled.
Yeah, just so you know, the jury is not in the room. This was the very beginning of trial today. Trial began at 8:30. Trial begins again tomorrow at 8:30 in the Bay County Courthouse in the 14th Judicial Circuit in Judge William Henry's courtroom. I believe closing arguments will be tomorrow. And it is a public proceeding. It is open to the public. You can't take pictures and stuff, though. The press box is full.
Your Honor, you can't be prejudiced by introduction of a document that you knew existed. And you already found in the spoliation order that as of December of 2021, Mr. Young knew he was going to be bringing this lawsuit, was contemplating it. You can't get around your discovery obligations by signing a document, then sending it off and saying, I no longer have it, can't produce it. That's what happened here. I mean, he got the
I
contract.
sign a document, send it off. It's within a company's possession, custody, or control. What is my discovery obligation to go to their records, dig through their files, and find a copy of a document I signed several years ago?
But that's not what I was suggesting, Your Honor.
It was.
What I'm
It
saying-
was. You said he can't shirk his discovery responsibilities by signing a document, sending it off, and then say, I don't have it.
He had it, is what I'm saying.
I get the court reporter to read back exactly what you said, but I think I verbatim said exactly what you said.
Your Honor, the point I'm trying
I'm
to
tired of these blatant misrepresentations that are being made, and they're being made by both of y'all. And maybe they're not 100%.
See, I think I've seen judges do this. Judge Mark Walker would do this a lot. And by the way, I have respect for Judge Mark Walker. I thought he was a very measured judge. How did I describe him? Alpha, scholarly, and hip. That's how I described Judge Mark Walker. It's his courtroom, and everybody in the room knows it. Federal Judge Mark Walker. But in this case, he's saying, and judges do this, look, I'm not just getting on you, officer of the court. It's kind of both sides are doing it. So I think Judge William Henry is sort of trying to be fair here, saying, hey, make sure you guys are tidied up over there as well. But really, he's directing this at Axelrod, at the CNN attorney. Watch, listen.
These blatant misrepresentations that are being made, and they're being made by both of y'all. And maybe they're not 100% lies. Maybe they're leaving out a little bit of the truth and making representations so you can carefully say, well, I didn't exactly say that. But you said he's lied to it because he doesn't have any work, but he had no proof that he had work because you're arguing that he signed a security agreement so they could hold his security clearance. But I didn't lie and say he had work. We're taking a break. I'm going to go read this real quick. Let me ask you one last question, Mr. Axelrod. You said, we were going to call Helios Global or whoever it was from there as a potential rebuttal witness. And that's why we served a subpoena. We didn't need to list a rebuttal witness on our exhibit list. But you also had production of documents from non-parties. I remember reading 2 motions to quash that verbatim said Rule 1.351 expressly provides the rule that is the exclusive procedure, in quotes, the open quote, exclusive procedure, close quote, for obtaining documents from non-parties without a deposition. Your subpoena for trial to whomever at Helios had a production request. The motion also said.
So here's the issue. They can subpoena somebody to come to trial. Okay. That's not a document. But if you're going to subpoena a person and a document, a ducis tecum subpoena, I've been watching too much of this. I've been involved too much of this stuff. Meaning we're going to subpoena you and records. See, the issue was they, during trial, wanted to subpoena a person and documents. Well, it's too late to introduce new documents.
Says that rule 1 point, or the motions that I remember reading said that 1.351 requires the notice to the other side. How are you not conducting discovery pursuant to 1.351 in sending a subpoena ducis tecum to Helios Global without giving notice to the other side?
Judge, I'm going to take ownership of that one.
Oh, this is Barron and Redding's lawyer. Many of you know him. That's Mr. Sanborn. That's Cliff Sanborn, Sandy, local attorney over in the with Barron and Redding over in the Fort Walton, Destin area. Longtime Panama City. That's Mr. Sanborn representing CNN, and he's going to take the heat on this. Watch.
Called Mr. Freeman this morning after reading the motion. I was asked to prepare a trial subpoena, and the subpoena came across my desk. My paralegal asked me if we needed to send notice of this to the other side. I told her, no, it's a witness subpoena in 38 years. I've never served copies of witness subpoenas to the other side and don't recall getting copies of witness subpoenas. I was looking at it as a witness subpoena, not a document production request. There was a ducis tecum component to it. I don't recall seeing it, but it was there, and I think, I'm responsible for that. So if the rule requires notice of a witness subpoena that has a document production request to it, that's on me, and I take responsibility for that.
What's kind of funny, I got to tell you this. The guy walking in the door there, he's the first witness for CNN. And CNN is calling him as an expert witness, the guy walking in the door who's been sitting in there, but he had to leave because things got too hot. He's about to go up there on the witness stand, and CNN is going to ask him questions in order to essentially paint out Zachary Young as a liar, that he lied about not being able to be employed, that he lied about his income and all this kind of stuff. And he is just deflated. The expert witness who gets paid $450 an hour at the door there, he's going to sit back down and think, oh my God. The judge is telling everybody, stop calling Zachary Young a liar. And CNN is about to put him on the witness stand to essentially call Zach Young a liar. And he is just hating his life right now. This expert witness walking in, watch his body language.
And I told Mr. Freeman that.
Right, well, and Mr. Axelrod made the representation that fortuitously we ended up just falling into our lap at the last minute.
He lied.
But it wasn't fortuitous because it was pursuant to that witness subpoena.
That's right.
That is true. Mr. McManus did send it. But
I mean, the CNN attorney is admitting that he lied. This document didn't just fall like manna from heaven. You all have had it. You lied to the court.
we didn't want him to come testify. That is correct.
All right, I'm gonna go look at this. I'll be back. All right, I went back through and I was reading the trial transcript that preceded the sidebar.
Get ready for this. Buckle up.
With the jury and the discussions that we had with the Helios document that was handed, what was it, 589? I think defense 589 was the document that was handed to Mr. Young during the cross-examination.
Buckle up.
think I made comments throughout the course of this case about how counsel was conducting themselves, how everything was a surprise, a last minute thing, how counsel was referring to each other in the course of their arguments, had to impose a $100 fine. And I find it rich that we've got discovery being done at the same time a motion to quash is being filed, arguing that the plaintiffs are violating the rules by sending out trial subpoenas when the defense is doing the exact same thing. We have representations being made to the court that we were just fortuitous to get this. It wasn't fortuitous. It was you were doing the same thing that the plaintiffs were doing and sending a trial subpoena for documents without notice to the other side in violation of Rule 1.351 that y'all cited in a couple motions. And just saying that this showed up in our lap. You represented me this morning. We didn't accuse them of anything, of having anything beyond a security agreement. But that was clearly the implication that was being made when we were arguing about the document, because you wanted to impeach him with it, despite the fact he admitted to signing the security document. And you changed it. We want to use it substantively, and it got admitted into evidence.
Oh, this is good. This is good. So the judge is talking to the CNN attorney, David L. Shapiro, who misrepresented information to the court, to the judge. And the judge is about to tell him, had you told me the truth, this never would have been admitted into evidence. But he's going to say it a lot harsher than that.
And it was admitted into evidence under my Binger analysis of something that, there's not prejudice to the other side, was primarily the reason. Had I known it been discovery being conducted after the deadline, there was no way in hell that the document would have been admitted into evidence. Mr. Axelrod, I don't know how many times in this transcript I didn't bring a piece of paper back with me, how many times you called.
See, think about what the judge just said. I mean, based on the judge's analysis, when CNN wanted to introduce a document as evidence for the jury to consider in this case, they presented it as it would not prejudice Zachary Young's case, his defamation claim. And now the judge said, had I known this, had I known the truth, there's no way in hell that document would be with the jury. It would be available for the jury to consider. That is massive prejudice against Zachary Young and his claim against CNN. I just don't understand why sanctions are not imposed. They're not, but the judge does scold him pretty good.
Oh, Mr. Young a liar. But yet in his deposition, he acknowledged having his security being held by Helios Global, which is exactly what that document is and which was exactly what he testified to.
Mm-hmm.
I think an apology from you was clearly in order to Mr. Young for the number of times in front of this court and streamed around the world that you call Mr. Young a liar for failing to disclose a document that you have no proof was within his possession, custody, or control.
Wow. Look at the face of the young attorney sitting next to Zachary Young. That young attorney is pretty good. His name is Corey. He keeps being referred to as Corey. He's doing a great job. But look at Zach Young. He's like, so in 2021, CNN defames him. This is a Navy SEAL. This is a guy saving poor Afghan women from the Taliban in 2021 until he was defamed. I mean, lawsuits take forever. And there's a lot of stress and anxiety. I mean, I feel so good for him to finally be sitting there and thinking, that's what I've been talking about. Thank you, Your Honor. Look at the face of the attorney.
Everybody here, I don't know how much money we're clicking off an hour in lawyer bills in this case, and how much credentials the lawyers have in this case. The case has been pending for 2.5 years in my court. And I made a joke, looking back through this transcript, I made a joke of you only have a week and a half to do more discovery in this case till we finish up the trial. But it seems like everybody wanted to do everything at the last minute without telling the other side that we're going to do this discovery and then accuse the other person of being the bad person. And I said in this transcript, I'm not going to decide the case based on who can sling the most mud at each other and make each other look out to be the worst person. I think it came up in the course of things. This isn't kindergarten. Y'all matriculated from kindergarten a long, long, long time ago.
Quit acting like children. And this is primarily directed at the first chair, the main CNN attorney, David L. Axelrod, who goes up there with his snarky little presentations and with his under his breath, sotto voce, little insults and snarks, finally getting his ass handed to him. How many times has he gotten away with it in the courtroom, do you think?
Or at least that's what it says because y'all have bar licenses. I'm troubled by all of this that happened. The easiest thing and the clear thing I'm doing is I'm permitting you to call Mr. Conway and get him here to testify and rebuttal. But I'm overly concerned with the level of professionalism or lack thereof that's here. I'm overly concerned. I mean, the transcript of what I read, we said at sidebar when we were arguing after we excused the jury, conflicts Mr. Axelrod with the argument you made today to me.
Yep.
The argument you were making when we were arguing about the document last week, you were suggesting that, oh, we got the smoking gun. This is the crucial document in our case. I don't know how many times I've heard that.
This guy, David, the CNN attorney, used to be a prosecutor. This deceitful guy, how many people has he imposed fines or even prison on? Think about the way he comports himself and lies in a courtroom. Now, lawyers are not under oath, by the way. Lawyers like to tell a witness, you know, like a witness for the other side. They'll say, I'll remind you before you answer that you are under oath. Most judges won't permit that kind of bullying. But the answer, if you're on the witness stand, is I'm very well that I'm under oath and you are not. The judge will probably slap you if you say that, but they're not under oath. They're just officers of the court who have the ethical obligation to vigorously litigate on behalf of their or defend on behalf of their client. But damn it, they've got to stay within the truth. And they are so brazen to lie because it is incredibly rare for them to be sanctioned by a court, and they should be.
That from both sides in this case, or the crucial witness. Like every document, the thousands of documents we have in this case are the crucial documents. But this was being represented as, oh, this just fell out of the sky in our lap. Not that we were doing the same thing we're accusing them of being bad people to do. And I take that as a complete insult to me as the court in this case. And you were saying that he completely lied and misrepresented despite the fact he acknowledged that he had a security clearance with Global, which again, is another misrepresentation of the court, which supports your argument that you were being made. So right now, your credibility with me, Mr. Axelrod, is about none, if you understand that.
I do. I certainly do. And I apologize when you feel that way. I apologize.
I want you to listen to this non-apology. This is a big deal to me. I'll be quick. So when you issue an apology to somebody and you say, I'm really sorry that you feel that way. That's not an apology. That's an up yours. That's not an apology. I'm real sorry if you feel this way. Not an apology. An apology is I'm sorry that I did that. I'm sorry for my behavior. I'm sorry that what I said was more than dishonest. It was deceitful. And I pray the court doesn't sanction us and me, Your Honor, I'm sorry, and turn around to Zachary Young, as the judge already said, and apologize to him for repeatedly calling him a liar. To the world, to the jury, when you don't have the evidence. Listen close to this guy's apology. It is a non-apology, and it really is indicative of his character, I'm afraid.
If you feel that I've misled you, that certainly wasn't my intention.
Yeah, well, you said, oh, I never said that. Well, no, you did.
Mm-hmm.
So today you said I never said that, but that's what the transcript from last week was representing. I'm reserving on any other sanctions pertaining to this matter and other matters against lawyers and parties in this case. But at least to resolve the issue for this morning to go forward, you can get Mr. Conway here. And I'll do this too. If Mr. Conway cannot make it here, we can call him via Zoom. All right.
Nothing further.
All right. Is there anything else we need to get before we get the jurors in here?
There you are.
All right.
Listen to this. Watch Zach Young. Watch Zach Young look over. Watch Zach Young look over at the CNN attorney. I love this. Watch this. Yeah.
Let me say this. I mean, y'all make a lawyer like that in Philly or New York or DC or wherever the heck it is, or Miami. We don't lawyer like this around here. Y'all may have handled some big cases. We're not going to play the shenanigans anymore in this case. Y'all both understand that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That happened this morning. Tomorrow, I believe there's closing arguments for phase one, which I believe, if I'm right, is liability. And then they've got to Friday, if CNN is found liable, then they'll be talking about damages. Wow. Right here in Bay County. All right. I do want to tell, I know that a lot of people, I've been not able to get back, or haven't gotten back to a lot of you who are trying to reach out to me. All right. And I'm going to tell you the way to get my undivided attention. And a few of you are doing it, and you get my undivided attention. And it's the best way I can do it, and it helps me continue to do this. And that is by booking a call. If you screenshot this, it's super, super easy to do. And you can get a 30-minute call or a 60-minute call. It doesn't have to be super serious, although they pretty much have been. It can also be you just want to talk about, citizen journalism, or what I take in the woods, or whatever, local government, how to, any of this stuff. But anyway, there it is, calendly.com/Burnie Thompson. You can book a call with me, get my undivided attention. And for those of you who have done it, I'm very, very grateful. I want to thank, before I go, of course, the Unknown Patriot for your support, and to all of you who throw a tip in the tip jar. I couldn't do it without you, without the crowdfunding. I'm independent, which is why I can tell you what I believe. And I couldn't do it without those of you throwing a tip in the tip jar, without you patrons. And you can become one as little as $5 a month at patreon.com/Burnie Thompson. It's anonymous, it's easy, and you can quit at any time. All right. We'll see what happens tomorrow, and I'll bring it to you then.